Hi, I'm Andy, and I'm bacon powered. Let's talk about cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is a necessary part of every cell in the entire body. Why are we so against cholesterol? First, let me say, I am not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do. This is just how I see the whole cholesterol thing. We know that cholesterol is a necessary part of many, if not most, cells in our body. We need a ton of cholesterol in our bodies to have our cells operate properly. Our bodies also seem to produce cholesterol as needed. If we don't have enough, we'll produce more. If we have too much, we'll stop producing it. So, what is the issue with cholesterol? Well, as I see it, as I understand it, the problem that decades ago they discovered was whenever somebody would have a heart attack, they would find all of this blood clot that was all this mushy cholesterol type substance. And so they figured, well, all this cholesterol that we're eating is clogging up our arteries. Except that was not a very scientific conclusion. It seems that because all this cholesterol is in your bloodstream, if you got rid of the cholesterol, then you wouldn't have any heart attacks. Or maybe just reduced heart attacks. But the evidence didn't support that. It seems that cholesterol was the cause of all this, but how come back in the 1800s, 1700s, many, maybe even most of our recipes, you can find this from old 19th century cookbooks, full of lard, full of butter, full of animal fats. But heart disease was not a big issue. Why was heart disease not a big issue when a huge part of our diet was saturated fat and cholesterol? Good question, huh? Well, what they didn't know, back when people started blaming cholesterol for heart disease, what they didn't know is this is the way I see it. This is my analogy. This is the metaphor that I've formed for myself for looking at cholesterol. Cholesterol is a repair mechanism. It is combined with white blood cells to repair damage to blood vessels. Now, our blood vessels are being damaged all the time. Exercise damages blood vessels. Carbohydrates are significantly damaged blood vessels. And nicotine also significantly damages blood vessels. Ever heard of any links between heart disease and smoking? Maybe. So our blood vessels are constantly being damaged by whatever means they get damaged. So your body will automatically send in repair mechanisms. Those repair mechanisms are a certain type of cholesterol and white blood cells. They combine to repair the damage. Well, I think of them as, imagine cutting your arm and you put Neosporin on the Band-Aid and put the Band-Aid on the cut, and then it heals and gets better, and then you take off the Band-Aid and then you're all good. So if the white blood cells are the Neosporin and the cholesterol is the Band-Aid, then isn't it okay to have a plentiful supply of Band-Aids in your medicine cabinet? It seems like you should be okay with having a plentiful supply of that cholesterol. Well, that's one type of cholesterol. One type of cholesterol is the cholesterol that actually works with the white blood cells to repair your blood vessels. There's another type of cholesterol. That's what they call the good cholesterol, I guess. That's the cholesterol that comes in and dissolves that plug, basically safely removes the Band-Aid, and so the Band-Aid doesn't just fall off and proceed down the artery or the vein or wherever it's going into eventually a smaller and smaller blood vessel where it plugs it and clogs, and then you have a heart attack or a stroke. So, don't you want that good cholesterol to come in and dissolve that plug, dissolve that successful repair mechanism? You're limiting your stock of good cholesterol to come in and dissolve that Band-Aid so it can be removed from the damaged site safely and not plug up an artery, a smaller artery on the way. So it seems to me like you shouldn't be afraid of cholesterol. But I'm not a doctor, I'm not telling you what you should do, I'm just telling you how I see it. Your blood vessels are getting damaged, you need to repair them, so why limit your supply of repair mechanisms? And why limit the supply of the cleanup substance that clears out your arteries and dissolves all of that buildup properly so it doesn't plug later on? Well, if you're limiting your cholesterol and limiting your saturated fat intake, then you're limiting your repair mechanisms. And it's especially worse when you're taking a specific medication that artificially reduces your cholesterol. I believe they call those statins. So you're reducing your medicine cabinet by not stocking it, but you're also removing Band-Aids from your medicine cabinet just because your doctor might tell you you need to only keep this supply in your medicine cabinet. So me personally, I like to give my body plenty of saturated fat and cholesterol. If it needs to make more, it will. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let my body handle the stocking of my medicine cabinet of Band-Aids. Also, the bigger thing probably is I don't do the things that cause extra damage to the blood vessels. Those would be carbohydrates. Having tons of carbohydrates every day is damaging your blood vessels, causing you to have more and more need for repair mechanisms, therefore more and more clots that, if you're limiting your saturated fats, you won't be able to dissolve properly, and eventually one of them is going to come off, not be dissolved properly, flow down your bloodstream into a smaller vein or artery, and get plugged. And if it's at the wrong spot, then you're in for some real trouble. Once again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not telling you what you should do, just telling you how I see it. And how I see it is cholesterol is a repair mechanism. It plugs the damage, repairs the damage, and other different kinds of cholesterol come in and dissolve the plug before it becomes dangerous down into a smaller and smaller blood vessel. So I'm not going to reduce my cholesterol. I'm going to be okay with it. I'm going to let it come naturally with the foods I ate, with the foods my ancestors ate, with the foods that were eaten in huge supplies around the time where heart disease was not an issue. And that makes sense to me anyway. That's how I see cholesterol. Ask your doctor about that. Ask your doctor, what do you think about me limiting my repair mechanisms naturally with food and artificially with medicine? See what he says. But I'm also going to limit the causes of extra damage to my blood vessels by not having tons of carbohydrates and not smoking. So, those are my thoughts. What do you think? Please comment down below if you disagree or agree. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.